Hey you and welcome. I'm Mr. Barry. In this whole video we're going to be looking at a great astronomy program that is absolutely free, and I'm not being paid to talk about it, which is great. This particular program allows you to view the sky as you see behind me here. You can see it from any location on the Earth, or you can actually look at it from other planets, and you can also change the date and time, so that if you wanted to see what the sky looked like in 1800 or something in the UK, boom, you can actually do that. If you want to look at it the way it looked like 1000 BC or something, you can do that as well, which is absolutely great. The detail in these star maps that you can actually see in real time or in any time that you want there is amazingly detailed. You can zoom in the objects, and you can actually go in and see other things such as artificial satellites. Of course, if you go to 1800, you're not going to be seeing any artificial satellites, but if you keep it in the recent times, you actually see the satellites up there, and that is great because it actually gives you information on which satellites they are and who owns them and everything else like that. The name of this program is
Stellarium.
And why did my voice change all of a sudden?
Stellarium. Stellarium, Stellarium, Stellarium.
Okay, apparently the editor is changing the word because I'm mispronouncing it slightly. So every time I say
Stellarium,
he puts in the correct pronunciation. Alright, but anyway, I'll have links to where you can actually download this app. This app works on a Windows computer, it works on your Chromebook, it works within a cell phone, so it works with basically any type of device that you have out there. You can even have what's called a web version. I'm going to show you the web version as well as the app version, which runs off your computer. What's nice about the app version is you can actually download it onto like a cell phone or to a tablet, go out into the field and use it in night mode or night vision mode there and see the sky. And basically it's not too bright, so you can actually zoom in on objects on the tablet and then look up and see the same object. It could be a satellite, it could be the moon, it could be a planet, it could be a nebula or a galaxy, whatever you want to zoom into on the app, you can do that. It'll tell you the name of it and also other information about it, such as its brightness, its distance, and other things about that particular object, which is absolutely great. So let's take a look at this app, you and I. Come on. Hey, here we are in the app version of the program here, and if you notice that we have some icons down at the bottom and also to the side, also above me, and I'm going to go over some of those right now. The very first one there is the location window. So if I open that up, basically I can change my location. So if I wanted to, I could actually click on an area and say, well, I want to see what it's like in a different area. So I could go over here to the UK, and now I'm jumping over there, which is awesome. You can go in here and actually choose by a city, or you can go by latitude and longitude. You can go by those as well. So those are different ways of basically changing your location. And I'm going to close this off, and I'm going to just stay here at this location. Next is the date and time. So I can go in on different days. So let's go in and see what it was like. Let me go back in time to 2020. And let's go, let's see here, to the 9th month. And we'll go to, let's see here, to the 26th, and we'll go and stick with that time there. All right, so looks like we have a very good night sky around us here. The other thing we could do is we can change the sky and viewing options. So let me open that up for us real quick, and notice in the sky we have the Milky Way brightness and also the saturation, which is important. Zodiac light brightness, dynamic eye adaptation, even the atmosphere visualization. We can take that off totally, or we can change it so that the atmosphere is affecting it more or less. Light pollution, I'm going to say manual, but if I just bring that down, notice how the sky changes. Look at that. There's a lot of light pollution, like from a city, but let's say you lived out in the country. Look at that. And that is awesome. If I take out the atmosphere totally, that's what you have. So notice around me, suddenly the stars really pop out. I'm going to leave the atmosphere in for right now. Next we have the solar attitude for twilight finder. And then we also can say how many shooting stars we have. So we can increase that number. And now we're seeing many shooting stars out there. That's a whole bunch. And then we'll keep it down there to a smaller number here, maybe 18 or so, huh? Okay. And we can turn on or off the stars. The absolute scales and the brightness, relative scales. We can add a twinkle and how much of a twinkle there is. That depends on the atmospheric conditions. So sometimes you go out into the atmosphere, if there's a lot of wind in the upper atmosphere, boom, the stars will appear to twinkle more. All right. And you can also limit the magnitude. Our eyes cannot really see things darker than magnitude 6, 6.5, somewhere around there. It's going to be really, really hard, even for someone with really good eyes, to see an object with darkness of magnitude 6 or 7 or say. And so we can limit the magnitude there to a certain number. Actually, I think for me it's around 4 or so. And then we can have spiky stars, yes or no, labels and markers. So I'm marking, labeling some of the objects. So you're going to notice like the planets are marked, the brightest stars are labeled, which is kind of nice. And then show additional star names, I have that. And then we can say used destinations for screen labels, so we can have some things there. All right. That's just the very first one there. The next one we have is the solar system objects. And that's if you want to see the asteroids, the planets, the moons, and all that. You can label that, or you can leave off the labels. So there's all the settings for this. We're going to be zooming in on Mars and Jupiter here in just a minute and show you some of the great detail that you can see. And I'm also going to do it with the web version. This is the app version that I'm in right now. You'll notice that the web version is a little bit different as when you zoom in on objects, which might be interesting for you there. Next is display objects from different catalogs. So we have different star catalogs or star maps that we actually have there in astronomy that we can use, and you can turn off and on different catalogs. Markings, you can see different markings up there. For example, the zodiac and all that. I'm going to leave those the way they are. Landscape, we can change the landscape. Notice here I can go to Mars. So that's Mars landscape. So it looks like a very barren landscape. I can change my viewpoint or my point of view to the surface of Mars as well, which is kind of neat. I'm going to go back to, let's see, Geneva, I think, right? Let's see, which one do I want to use? Okay, I think I'm going to use this one here for right now. But look at those many different ones that you have there. Ooh, let's just look at Saturn for a second and see what shows up there. So there's clouds below me. And if we look around, I would expect to see rings. But anyway, I just see clouds below me. All right, let's go back to the Earth there. And wow, we have so many different surface features or landscapes that we can use, which is really awesome. More options are down here, such as show the fog, show the ground on or off, and then even the brightness. Star lore. All right, now this is where we go in, and star lore culture is used internationally by modern astronomers and is the official scheme of the International Astronomical Union. All right, so it's basically how we name constellations and all the little patterns that we see up there. And notice I'm using the Western one, but let's say that you wanted to use the Korean one or the Inuit or the Japanese or any other star maps out there. Everybody has their own, right? So, wow, look at all of these. There are a long list of different options here for star names and star constellations. So we call that star lore. And I'm going to stick with Western for this video here. And next we have the deep sky surveys, and there are many of those there. We can see deep sky objects with this. You can actually zoom in and see things such as, deep sky objects that are really far away, and basically you wouldn't be able to see them unless you had a very powerful telescope. All right, we're going to leave those off for right now. But this is amazing, all the options here that we have. The next thing that we have here is sky and viewing. Done that. Next is we can have a search. So if I wanted to search for an object, boom, I can search for an object. So I can go Jupiter, and there it goes, Jupiter. All right, there's Jupiter. And what I'm going to do is over here on the side of the screen, it says the name, the magnitude. Magnitude means the brightness, and then we have the absolute magnitude of it there. A number that is more negative is brighter. Okay, so if you had a star that's magnitude 4, say, it would be very, very dim and almost impossible to see by most observers unless you have a very pristine dark sky. If you have an object like -1 or -2, it's going to appear quite bright. In fact, Jupiter here is -2.37, and it's one of the brightest objects in the night sky during this time here. Venus can get a little bit brighter. And of course, the moon is going to be even brighter than that. All right, and here's other information here about that object. So we have a lot, even the phase angle. So how much of the face of, or the disk of the planet is lit up by the sun at that time, which is, and if you're looking at it through a telescope, that gives you the perfect information there to zoom in on that. All right, configuration window and is next, and then next behind that we have the astronomical calculation window. So if I go there, you'll notice that we have astronomical calculations, and right now we're focused on Jupiter. So we see different objects here and different information on that object. For example, here's the distance in astronomical units from us, and we have Jupiter, which is about 4.8, about 5 astronomical units. That means the distance between the sun and the Earth is about 5 times further away, which is awesome here. And then we have other information there. Here's other information. We can change the what we're looking at. So if I wanted to look at Mars and get the information on Mars, there's that. Here's other information. This one is for Jupiter, and we can get basically just so much information on all these, even the graphs showing you how high it is in the sky. And remember, zenith is straight up. Okay, here's more things, such as we can look at different things there. There's just so much information here. This is the perfect program for an astronomer. Man, this is awesome. I'm an amateur astronomer. I've had telescopes most of my life, and I love just going out in the country, usually away from city lights, and just observing the night sky, looking at different things there. And this is the perfect tool for you. This is absolutely amazing. All right, next you have a help window, so you can click that and then get more help in there as well. Down here at the very bottom of my screen, notice that we have the constellation name. So if I turn that on, suddenly the constellations, the western ones, by the way, are all of a sudden they're drawn out for us. I'm going to turn that off. The next one we have now the labels. There you go. So a lot of times, if you're reading an astronomy magazine or if you're reading something online, they'll say, well, look towards Sagittarius, and you'll see this particular object. Maybe it's a comet or something like that during the time. And this will, you just turn on the constellation names if you didn't know, and it shows you the labels up there for you, which is absolutely great. I love this. Next, you're going to actually draw them out now. So here now the constellations are drawn out. Here they are with their labels, and here they are, all three. Let me look around here for a second. This is just awesome. Looking up in the sky. Oh, I can spend a lot of time in this program. I'll try and make it quick. Anyway, here is the grid on the sky, which this is helpful if you are given directions on another source. Maybe you're looking at a Sky and Telescope magazine, which I love reading, and they would say, okay, look at a particular direction in the sky, and then look up so many degrees above the horizon. So here's 15 degrees above the horizon. You can kind of see different things there. Actually, there we go. That's what we were looking for. 15 degrees above the horizon. That would be the line. So Jupiter is around what? About 13 and a half, 14 degrees above the horizon there at that time, according to this grid that we're looking at. So we have both the grid here and also the azimuth grid, which we use quite often in astronomy. Ground. Let's say that you just want to turn off the ground. The ground is gone now, and you're just floating in space. Oh, it's a funny feeling. Now, you can actually use this with virtual reality. So if you have an Oculus Rift, you can actually view everything there through your Oculus Rift headset, which is absolutely amazing. Next is the atmosphere. So I'm going to turn off the atmosphere. I'm going to leave the atmosphere for the rest of the video, by the way. This is absolutely beautiful. Look at this. This is amazing. And here we are looking at Jupiter, Saturn, and the Moon. Let me see here. Other things that we have here. We have the cardinal points. And I'll turn on or off. And if I turn that off, you can turn off the cardinal points, turn off the ground. And now look at this. It just looks like I'm floating in space. Next we have deep sky objects on or off. If you turn it on, there's the labeling of the deep sky objects that you can see. And that's what we saw earlier, where you can turn on and off different catalogs for deep sky objects as well. I'm going to leave it off right now. There we go. And then we have planet labels. So Saturn and Jupiter just unlabeled, looks more natural for you there. And next we have the switch between equatorial and azimuth mount. So it's perfect for your telescope, and you can actually link this to your telescope, by the way, with using the app, and tell you if you have a smart telescope, it can actually go in and just, if you're, let's say you're trying to see Neptune. Neptune is almost, it's going to be, I'm going to say it's impossible to see it with your naked eye. You got to use binoculars or a telescope. You can actually put in the coordinates, and your smart telescope will zoom right to it for you, and then track it in the space there, or in the sky, which is kind of neat. We're going to center on my Jupiter here. So I'm centering on Jupiter, as you see there. What we're going to do now is next is night mode. And I'm just going to do it just for a second here. There's night mode. It shades everything in red, and that makes it easier for you to see the object. So you have it on your tablet or maybe on a laptop. You're out in the wild, and well, night view, is kind of neat. Next, we have the full screen mode, which I am in. And next we have the exoplanets, which is a new one for me. I've been using this program for decades, and this is a new, I just updated it here recently, and now we have exoplanets, which is absolutely awesome. So there's thousands of exoplanets that have been discovered. We can toggle the meteor showers. And by the way, when you do that, and let's say you are actually doing this out there in the field, it will show you where the where to look, or where the meteor shower looks like they're coming from, which constellation they're coming from, which is pretty awesome. Artificial satellites on or off. I'm going to have it turned on here, and and I've used it before, so you'll be surprised when you have it turned on and a night sky, and how many satellites are actually up there when you're looking at that. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to zoom in on Jupiter. There's Jupiter there. Took a few seconds to download the texture. Jupiter is stunning, by the way, and there's the moons that we call those the Galilean moons, and that is absolutely wonderful. There we go. If you click on the side, it turns off that information. I don't need to see the information. I just want to enjoy as if I'm looking at Jupiter through my telescope. This is absolutely amazing. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one of the Io, one of the satellites of Jupiter there. I'm going to zoom in on it, center, and that's what Io looks like. So if you had your telescope, a very good telescope, and you're looking at Io, that's basically the face that you should see, which is awesome. Yeah, this should be Mars right here. And I'm going to center on Mars, and let's look at Mars. Mars is one of my next to the Earth, my favorite planet. As far as night sky object, it's my favorite object to look at in the night sky with my telescope. And here's all the information, so we can have that there. I'm going to zoom in, and there's the face of Mars, which is absolutely awesome. Okay, now these other tools, we can speed up time. The day on Mars is about 24 hours, 47 minutes or so. So let me just see if I can speed up time and keep it in my lens viewfinder. There we go. Look at this. Okay, I'm going to pause it when I get to a place here. Okay, this right here, this object that you see, or this feature, the surface feature on Mars, that's Valley Marineris, the largest canyon in the solar system. All right, let me zoom in. Let me go in again there. All right. Let me go backwards in time a little bit because it's touchy. Okay, and I'm going to explain a few things for us. Why does the planet appear to be doing this? Well, that's because it's a point of view from the Earth. The Earth is round, it's a ball, and so as you are on this ball, you're moving around in space, and so your angle changes, so that's why it appears to do that. It's amazing because if you go to Alaska, or and you look at the planet there and you see it over time, it doesn't appear to do that so much. It's just very, very little. But if you go to the equator, it seems to flip all the way over. So just a little point there. Okay, this is Tharsis Range on Mars, Olympus Mons, basically the largest volcano in the solar system. This would be the North Pole, and then this is the South Pole, and then Halley's Basin is out here. It's just on the limb of the disk. So that'd be Halley's Basin over here. All right, so let me advance time here again now and watch it as it moves. This is amazing. I could spend all day just watching, or all night watching Mars, and I used to spend about 8 hours or so, and I'd be doing maps of the surface features of Mars, and that's when I was in my teenage years, just because I was just fascinated with it. And all right, Status Major is there. Here comes Status Major. Halley's Basin, the south. This is the South Pole, North Pole up here. By the way, if you're looking at it in a telescope view, it flips it, so it'd appear upside down. South being up, north being down, just to let you know if you are using your telescope right now. All right, and let me zoom out here just a little bit. This should be one of the moons. This looks like maybe Deimos. Yeah, this is Deimos. And we can, now it doesn't zoom in to see the object, and we're going to use the web version here in just a second, and we're going to compare the two. So let me get out of this one here. I'm going to turn on the ground. There's the ground. Okay. And I might as well talk about these. These here are viewing options. You know, how you want to change your viewing as you're working with the program, which is really handy if you're comparing this or using this with your telescope. All right, next up is the web version. Hey, here we are in the web version, and you notice we have controls at the bottom where I can again turn on the constellations and look at them that way, or turn them off. There's the atmosphere being on, and there's a darker night. Landscape, I can do that, turn on or off. And I do have more options through here, so I do have more options there. We'll turn that off right now. What we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on Mars, and there's Mars. And see if I can zoom in on it here. There we go. There's Status Major, there's Halley's Basin, and Tharsis Ringe would be on the far side of me. Golden Plain up there. North is up, basically, and south is down in this map. So that is a beautiful shot of the planet Mars. And Phobos, look at that, Phobos is right there, and look at that, you can actually zoom in on Phobos, so a lot of detail there. If you had a very good telescope, you can actually be seeing all that, which is pretty amazing. All right, I'm going to zoom out and see what else we have here. Crab Nebula. Let's look at the Crab Nebula real fast before we end this, and just zoom in on it. There's the Crab Nebula. Hey, so there you have it. Now you know about this great app called
Stellarium.
There it is again. Anyway, hey, if you like these types of videos, please leave a thumbs up, comment down below if you have an idea or a question. Maybe you have an idea for a future video that you want to see me cover. Well, that's great. Go ahead, if you have a topic, leave that down in there, and I will do the research on that topic. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. And a big thank you to all my new subscribers and all my wonderful supporters out there sharing my videos on their social media and other places there. That is awesome. Thank you very much. And hey, you all have a very good day, and bye-bye. Stellarium.
Stellarium.
Nice try, Mr. Barry.